Anderson, but look at Anderson working the outside.
Oh, we got a trouble.
Into the concrete.
But Rico's turned around.
One into the wall, and there's some contact and some damage on the right rear of Abreu as well.
That Austin Wayne Self we saw sideways back there.
Get it fired up.
There's Self bringing it down.
Yeah, Abreu looks like maybe he was on the outside of Self. Self got loose, and they made a little bit of contact. You can see that's pretty significant. Look at the Bondo and parts and pieces fly off that 22 truck as he hits.
Tough break for both these drivers and teams.
I think Abreu's going to be able to get away, Vince, without much damage. This will certainly set Self well back.
He had a season best 13 just a few races ago back at Texas. Did Self. Ninth place. Contact. Spencer Gallagher and Kyle Busch. Busch into the wall. Heavy damage to the left side of the machine of Kyle Busch.
Looked like Spencer Gallagher just got a little bit loose. I think the penalty was almost intentional. I think they needed to make some adjustments on that truck, that they needed more people. So
watch the 23 of Gallagher and the 18 of Kyle Busch with Jordan Anderson underneath Gallagher.
Yeah, I think Jordan went into the corner and gave Anderson a little bit of extra room, and that caused him to be higher than Kyle expected him to be, and the two made contact.
it almost looked like Spencer turned away from Jordan Anderson, and that was just enough to get into that left rear of Kyle Busch's truck.
Parker Kligerman had to avoid that mishap as well, nearly got involved. A couple of guys from Las Vegas went bust.
Whoa, look at Daniel Hemrick with a caution with lights on, got into the outside wall.
The 4 of Ross Chastain way out of the groove and all the way up to the wall.
And then right behind him, the 33 car, he had trouble as well, and he actually went up and hit the wall. You see the 33 drives in the corner. See the car's loose, see it shaking. Listen to the tires. Not good when you get the tires.
Jones is going to pass him on the outside as the 07 spins. Caution comes out. Ray Black Jr. in the 07 goes around.
Yeah, you see the 07 just up in the gray. Nothing he can do at that point. Jeff just, does a good job of staying in the gas. But who that benefits just came through the picture. That 3, we talk about that penalty of Ty Dillon, and now he'll get to be up in front of those lap cars. Ray Black hard in the gas. That's impressive to know you're going towards the wall, stays in the gas. You see that left rear tire driving the car off the wall, definitely reducing the damage that could have happened.
Yeah, that saved that car. If he hadn't have done that, you can see he gets in the wall right there, not heavy contact at all. If he had not have done that, probably would have done rear frame damage and spent a lot of money and a lot of time fixing that car for.
About how difficult turns 3 and 4 is. Here's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. all the way on the exit of turn 4. Gets loose, makes pretty good contact with the outside wall. Luckily, the 42 of Kyle Larson, you see there in the red and white car, was very observant, knew the 17 was in trouble, and went down to the inside. And now we have a car on the wall in the middle of 3 and 4.
That's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. again. Up into the wall. He got into the gray, and the caution comes out.
So he's driving down the back straightaway, goes into turn 3. We know he hit the wall already once before. Probably has damage to the car. Looks like to me it probably cut a tire down, ends up getting into the wall. But all that started because of what happened the lap before. And this is what we've been talking about all weekend long. We've been seeing these guys.
1 and 2. We talked about how treacherous the racetrack is.
Around goes the 48. Jimmy Johnson around and into the wall. Caution comes out again.
Hold the brakes. See the 48, he just got in there and got loose. I mean, plain and simple, he was underneath another car, lost the side force, lost down force, had to chase up the racetrack. It just got away from him.
Almost in a 3-wide position. I don't think if he was completely 3-wide, but Kyle Busch was looking underneath the 48. He had another car on the outside of him. It looks like it was the 21 of Ryan Blaney. Definitely a compromised position in the toughest end of the racetrack to have all that. And now we're on board with Dylan. Just be a great view of what happened.
You can see he gets in the corner, goes to the yellow line like he'd want to go. You can see it start to wiggle. Now it's just gets away from him. He just tried to keep the pace up because on these.
And teammates, Logano sideways, kisses the wall with the right rear quarter panel. Into the tire.
in the corner. Car looks like it just goes straight, almost maybe like another tire failure. I tell you what this has me thinking, and we heard Joey Logano say it. This racetrack is much more like a short track than it is than a mile and a half, typical mile and a half. It makes me wonder if these drivers aren't having to use more brake than they anticipated to get the car slowed down, and they're melting beads. We've seen this before. We've seen rotor issues when we come to racetracks when teams aren't expecting them to be this slow. Quite possibly the teams just weren't prepared for the pace. You have to slow down getting into these corners. And 21 pulling out. Cole Witt's coming in. Contact, pretty big contact with the 21. Three wide.
Oh, and around goes the 21 of Ryan Blaney. Chase Elliott as well. The two youngest on the racetrack are around.
I saw it 3 wide, and I wondered how in the world is that going to work. So crazy. We've talked about it. You have to be aggressive. You have to make things happen. And this all started because everybody's trying to make something happen. 78 gets pulled around by the 4 car, slows everybody up. Now we're 3 wide going into the corner. Somebody's got to make a decision right here. Do I want to be 3 wide? 21 gets loose, gets into the side of the 24. Both of them have long nights.
That 21 was right in the middle of the 3 wide. And we have seen Jimmy Johnson, a 6-time champion, be in that position. The same thing happens. It gets loose and up the racetrack he goes. This time he collects the 24 of Chase Elliott. His way up into the top 2. And Kyle Busch is going to lose another spot, and around they go on the backstretch. Chris Buescher involved in the 34. 44 of Brian Scott also involved in this one. A lot of damage to the 34. Look at the front of that race car.
That took a huge impact right there.
So disappointing for this team. They had ran well in every practice. They showed speed all weekend long. They kept getting themselves further back in the pack. 4 tires on pit road. They got blocked on pit road one time and kept getting them back in the pack. And this is the danger of being back there. They had a good race car tonight.
A.J. Allmendinger involved. A.J. Allmendinger, another one of those drivers you thought getting into the chase. There, the 44 of Brian Scott is sideways. Saves it coming off of 2. But then looks as though Kyle Larson may have been in the back of him when he came off of 2. And there's the heavy contact.
Yeah, and you saw the backfire out of the tailpipes of the 44 as he was trying to save the car. It looked like he was maybe on and off the throttle. His speed probably reduced. The 42 is right behind him. You see the safer barrier doing a good job absorbing some of the impact there.
When a car gets that slow in front of you, you can be all the way off the gas and you're still pushing them. You know, Kyle Larson looked to be in the back of him, but all the trouble started, and Kyle just couldn't get slowed down.
A little bit of damage to the front end of 10 of Danica Patrick, but a lot of damage to Chris Buescher's number 34. Another look. There was the impact between Chris Buescher and the 44 of Brian Scott. A.J. Allmendinger involved, as well as the 95 of Ty Dillon. Contact there also with the 7 of Regan Smith. Right along with Dale Jr.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Totally clear, 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 clear. Big wreck back here. Caution's out. Good job.
Dale Jr. made a decision to go, and he just stayed with it. Quick decisions have to be made. See the 44 underneath the 11 in a compromising position. That makes you loses all his momentum. The 42's in the back of him. Tony Stewart barely gets by. The 34, big impact. 47. See the 95 of Ty Dillon. He got slowed down pretty well.
And Rick, we talked at the top of the show about the chase grid and what could possibly happen on the chase grid. And just in the last 2 accidents, we've seen the 24 of Chase Elliott, the 21 of Ryan Blaney in major accidents. Now the 47 of A.J. Allmendinger. All of those cars are vying for those 5.
Or someone got up into the wall, it looks like. That's the 7 of Regan Smith. Hard contact with the right side as the caution has come out. Quite a few of the green flag pit stops had cycled through.
At the top of the screen, entering turn 3 at the bottom of the racetrack. Oh, you see something come off the car. I would assume either something broke or the tire went down. That looked actually like a piece of the hood flap. When the right front tire pops, usually it's a pretty big explosion. It takes that cowl flap or hood flap, and the hood blows it out of the car, and then much like we saw with the 22 earlier, just a long straight ride up to the fence.
That was a big impact. The angle where he hit, I mean, he just hit at a really, really hard angle. That was a much bigger impact than we saw, say, Joey Logano's.
Yeah, he starts.
And you saw right there, Brad was able to actually.
Oh, around goes to 15. Clint Boyer sideways, and the caution will come out.
Right there. If you don't have a flat, stay out on the apron.
15 underneath the 10 of Danica Patrick. He's already sideways. Now he's trying to chase it up the racetrack. He's just loose underneath her. Did a really good job of staying off of her. I mean, he really did. She did a nice job of maintaining her pace, and it's along for the ride at this point.
And that's what you had just discussed. That
look at the rotor glowing in the front, though.
Yep.
See, I'm sorry, it's not the rotor glowing. That's a mark on the wheel.
Getting to the side of a car, though, and that's what happened with Danica Patrick. Just was on the outside of the 15, takes that air off of the spoiler, and around goes to 15.
He's also compromised. You can see they were pretty much 3 wide, so he entered very shallow, meaning he had to turn early, getting into the corner, and on top of that, he had all the downforce being taken off the car.
Kevin Harvick has led 105 laps. Martin Truex Jr. continuing to lead as A.J. Allmendinger, coming back out on the track, has major damage to the front end of that car. The hood has flown up over the windshield, and the caution will come out again. '47 of A.J. Allmendinger was involved in a crash earlier this evening, and a very disappointed driver.
Remember, he's one of those drivers toward the end of the cut line trying to get in the chase. Very upset. I don't blame him. Work hard and try to drive these race cars. When things don't go well, it's very frustrating.
And as difficult as it is, the rule is the drivers are supposed to stay in their cars until the safety crew gets to them. But
see, he may have hurt his hand. You know, he was looking at his hand. He was shaking his hand. And
see what happened. This is in the front stretch.
Saw a lot of smoke out of the car before it hit the wall.
What a nice run for this race team. They're running in 20th right now. They've been dealing with a race car that's been a little too loose all evening long, but keeping it up there with a nice effort in the top 20.
McMurray, as we go NASCAR nonstop. And we're not going to go NASCAR nonstop because the 38 gets into the wall. Landon Castle, after that save that we just watched, he was running 19th.
Taking the paint off the sidewall here. We got the fence there off the 2 with the right side.
Already up into the wall, top of your screen.
I'm not sure what started that, but obviously we saw him in trouble earlier. I don't know if potentially when he got next to the car beside him, if maybe he cut a tire, cut a sidewall or something. Really hard to tell, but I wonder what does Almirola, what does that team do on this stop? Tony Stewart, they're on the same strategy.